Hey there, movie fans. Have you ever wondered, I wonder if classic movies hold up today? Well, I was tired of asking that question and decided to go ahead and find out. Welcome to Classic Corner, where I watch classic films that I have never seen and give you my thoughts on them. Today, we're talking about Rudy, a movie released in 1993, directed by David Asper, starring Samwise Gamgee, played by Sean Astin. Also with appearances from Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn, and there's a lot of people in this movie that, like, obviously they're very young. Before we get to know them as the secret head of Star Wars and stuff like that. So, let's talk good stuff first. Gosh, this was fun. It's a good film. This movie follows the journey of Dan. And I'm not even going to try to say his last name because I heard it 1,000 times and still don't know how to pronounce it. Follows the character of Dan, who he's always dreamed of going to Notre Dame. He's wants so desperately to play football at Notre Dame. And this movie follows his journey to get to go play on that team. Let's talk good stuff first. Sean is fantastic. Vince Vaughn's fantastic. Jon Favreau's. Everyone is pretty good. I mean, it's a movie in 1993. It's as good as your heartfelt, wholesome, kind of early 90s movies is gonna get. The music is fantastic. It's what you get when you have this feel good sports film. Despite some of my problems with the premise overall, the climax of the ending of this movie is so good. And for someone who was not enjoying the first 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes of this film, I actually started tearing up at the end. I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. For those that don't know, Rudy basically is not that smart. He's me. He's me. I'm not that smart. Not an athletic bone in his body, and so he wants to go desperately so badly to Notre Dame because he's such a huge fan, and because of his grades is unable to do so. So he ends up working at the steel mill with his father, and all of his brothers kind of have also done that. It was interesting to see that they were. He was pitching to Dan, his dad's pitching to Dan, hey, this is a good idea. This is why this is a good idea. I mean, he's like, yeah, man, you're part of a union. You make $5 an hour. I was like, God damn, $5. That's it. All right, cool. People smoking indoors, very early, you could tell what time we're in, just because of those small little things like that. But Dan is such a big fan of Notre Dame, I guess, sure, as a university, that he desperately wants to play football for them. The issue is, of course, is that he's not smart enough and he's not actually that good at football, which is kind of yeah, that's an issue, dude. You kind of have to, in order to make that a possibility, that has to be a thing that those things have to be something you're good at. What's interesting is when he graduates high school and can't go to college, can't go to Notre Dame. They it just flashes forward 4 years for some reason. It's very weird. They just go. He's just working at the steel mill for 4 years. So that makes him. I think the movie sets the majority of the movie takes place when he's 22, 23, and 24. I believe is the ages that he's at. He enlists the help of a tutor, and he goes to a community college. Excuse me. He enlists the help of a tutor and goes to community college so that he can get his grades up to then apply and get into Notre Dame. I don't know why I keep saying I don't know why I keep saying the building and not the school. That's so weird. But of course, then eventually through lots of hard work, after being denied 3 times, he eventually gets in. good for him. And so then because of that, he's able to try out for the football team. But it's not like the football team, it's the prep squad, the squad that basically learns the plays of the offense of what learns the plays for the defense that they're going to be playing against later in that week, and then they practice with the offense so that they can better be equipped to face the defense later that weekend. So he's not like on the team, but he's like on the team. And so, the biggest thing for him is people are always saying, like, if you had half the heart of Rudy, blah, 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 blah. And, like, he's a good guy. So, like, that definitely helps his case to the point, to the end where the coach doesn't want to put him in, even though it's a senior year and they're winning by a lot. They get the whole team chanting, and then they get the whole stadium chanting, basically, to put Rudy in. And Rudy gets in for, like, the last 30 seconds. Like, the whole movie, the last, like, 5-10 minutes of the movie is the actual game that he actually gets to be in. But so he gets in for the last like 8 seconds and he gets a sack. So good for him, man. Happy for you for your last game of your senior year to finally get a sack. And then the movie kind of ends and they're like, look, see, this was so cool. And I mean, there's a lot of good things. It's very heartfelt. It's a story about a guy working his butt off to achieve his dreams. It's heartwarming. It's cool. I don't hate that I watched it. The negative, of course, is it's interesting to say it's interesting that, like, watching this now, you kind of see the super fan aspect of it, of like, okay, well, just because you're a super fan of something doesn't give you the right to be like, hey, I'm gonna kind of like I'm gonna leave my entire life behind. I'm going to sneak into the maintenance office and sleep on their cot every night, and I'm going to get a job at the grounds crew for the stadium, and it's like there's a lot of like really shady things that he does that kind of make him, I don't want to say not likable, because he's still charismatic. He's still like, you admire how much he wants it, but like at the same time, it's almost borderline stalkerish. It's borderline like or like obsessive, like unhealthy obsessive, to the point that for me, as much as I how heartwarming the finale is, you still kind of, and I hate that I'm going to make this comparison, you get the feeling of like, there's that video I've seen online of like the team that gives this little kid a chance to play with the team or whatever, and it's like all heartwarming and stuff, but like it still feels like charity. It still feels like like, oh, you deserve this, but like also we're having you like kind of don't. And it's tough because you want his character to achieve his dreams, but his dreams are so like ridiculous and kind of wild. It's not a movie I'd watch again. It's kind of ridiculous. I understand it's based on a true story, and like the groundskeeper makes a really good point for me. At one point towards the end, that Rudy's not on he doesn't get to dress or whatever for a game, and the groundskeeper's like, so Rudy quits, right? He's like, man, I'm not on I was told I get to dress for one game and I didn't get to, so you know what, this ain't worth my time, I'm quitting. Which is kind of like, okay, that was not necessarily the point of you coming all this way, but so the groundskeeper's like, yo, dude, like, get your head out of your butt, because like you've been here, you've worked your butt off to earn your spot, to earn a degree from Notre Dame. So like, and you've literally like completely changed your life around because of that. I understand you really want to play, but like you have to understand what you have accomplished up to this point is something incredible. But also, if you're going to put all this work and all this heart into, being on the prep squad, then what's the point of you quitting now. Like, you quitting now is kind of defeats the purpose of all this time, all this stuff that you've done up to this point. What's the point if you quit now? So there's like a lot of like, and that to me, he you know, and so that's the scene where he's like, oh wow, you're right, I should just get in there. Okay, all right, blah, 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 blah. And you know, mid practice walks back onto the field. I don't know about you guys, but like I've done a little sports in my day, and I know that if you just didn't show up to practice, and like this is like a before high school level, so like if you didn't show up to practice and then tried to come to practice mid to 3/4 of the way through, I don't know if they'd let you just hop in on there, man. I don't know. There's a lot of like liberties, I guess you have to give the film in order for it to kind of make sense, which is fine. It's a classic film, whatever. All in all, to give it probably a pretty solid 6 out of 10. Not bad. I mean, it's worth a watch, absolutely. So what did you guys think? Have you guys seen Rudy? Is it something that you have very fond memories for? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe to get access to many of the other videos that Nate and I put out, as well as go check out our podcast on Uncharted Media Podcast on Spotify, Google Play, YouTube right here, really anywhere you can get your podcast. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Have a great day.